Hello, and welcome back. Today we have playing through my PlayStation 2 collection, number 3, Tekken 4. Originally released for arcades in 2001, a home console port was released the following year in 2002. Similar to the other games in the series, Tekken 4 is a basic one-on-one fighting game, but as the first mainline title on the PlayStation 2, it introduced some new features and gameplay mechanics. Set 2 years after the events of Tekken 3, we will look to the game manual for some background information and story details. 2 years ago, Heihachi failed to capture Ogre. Not willing to give up, Heihachi ordered his researchers to collect blood samples left behind in order to conduct genetic experiments. His bioengineers came to the conclusion that an additional gene, the Devil gene, was necessary in order to successfully splice Ogre's genetic code into another living organism. During his investigation, Heihachi discovered a 20-year-old photograph of a burnt corpse, covered with laceration wounds. Heihachi paid particular attention to the corpse's back, which had what looked like deformed, protruding wing-like limbs. Convinced that the picture was of Kazuya, his own son, whom he threw into a volcano 20 years earlier, Heihachi diverted all his resources into a search for the body. This eventually led him to G Corporation, a leading-edge biotech firm making unprecedented advances in the field of biogenetic research. Heihachi's Tekken Force raided G Corporation's underground facility, where Kazuya's remains were preserved. However, the operation was not proceeding according to plan. Some unseen entity threw the Tekken Force troops like ragdolls. Their motionless bodies lay crumpled on the floor. A silhouette of a large figure slowly emerged from the room. When Heihachi could see clearly enough, he recognized the figure as Kazuya. Kazuya had been resurrected by G Corporation and offered his body as research material to determine the true nature of the Devil gene that resided within him. Kazuya's goal was to unify his two selves into one. Kazuya obliterated the Tekken Force and vanished into the flames of the lab's wreckage. Heihachi focused his mind and decided on a plan. 2 years had passed since the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3. The Mishima Zaibatsu announced the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4 and placed the massive financial empire as the top prize. New to Tekken 4 is a standalone story mode, separate from the typical arcade mode. Each character has a unique introduction cutscene that provides some background information and their reason for entering the tournament. The player then must fight through 8 progressively difficult opponents, culminating with Heihachi in the finals, who does his best Mike Tyson impression with a questionable outfit selection. After winning the tournament, a follow-up video will play. Despite many different possible endings, it is Jin Kazama's that is considered canon. Prior to the start, the difficulty and round settings can be altered to your preference and skill level, but as many continues can be used as needed. Tekken 4 consists of 23 playable characters, with 10 available from the start, and more unlocked as story mode is completed with different fighters. Of the 23, only 6 are new, with 17 returning, although some fighters are simply alternate skins of another with identical movesets. All fighters do have a personal style to master, with a unique set of attacks, combos, and power-ups, although the same basic controls exist for all. Each of the 4 main buttons corresponds to each limb, with one for the left or right arm, and left or right leg. Every fighter also possesses the same basic techniques, such as grabbing, changing position, running, tackling, sidestepping, and guarding. New to this game is the ability to move around prior to the start and environmental objects. These include breakable walls and ring boundaries a player can smash their back into, or even the ceiling if hit upward hard enough. These added a new intense flow to the combat and hazard to strategize for, as even hitting the wall could deal enough damage for defeat. Now, I will show some highlights and key moments from my playthroughs for each of the fighters in story mode, starting with the canon ending of Jin Kazama. New to Tekken 4 is voiceover work for the intros, but unfortunately, the in-game music is obnoxiously loud while it plays, so I will read these instead. Jin Kazama, Brisbane, Australia. A city crowded with buildings, new and old. Nestled amongst the towering buildings was a small dojo. A young man trained there in silence, his face hidden by the hood of his jacket. Day after day, Jin trained in the traditional art of karate. Ever since his betrayal by Heihachi, Jin loathed anything related to the Mishimas. His lineage, his fighting style, the devil gene in his blood, everything. Thanks to the dojo master's training, Jin unlearned the Mishima Ryu fighting style and mastered the art of traditional karate. Jin burned with desire to destroy the evil Mishima bloodline, his grandfather Heihachi Mishima and his father Kazuya. Upon hearing rumors of the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4, Jin hardened his resolve to enter the tournament.
Round. Fight. You win.
The tournament officials sent Kazuya a message. The winner of round 7 by default is Kazuya Mishima. Please proceed to the final stage. Though Kazuya sensed Heihachi's hand in Jin Kazama's disappearance, a fearless grin crept upon his face as he headed towards the final stage. While on his way to fight Kazuya, Jin was ambushed by the Tekken force. Jin brought down scores of them, but was eventually captured and taken away.
お前さえいなければ、お前を倒して全てを終わらせる。どれ。
You win.
所詮この程度の男か。不甲斐ない。その力 わしが全てもらう。お前はここで死ぬ。
母さんに風間純に感謝しろ。
Kazuya Mishima. 20 years ago, Kazuya lost to Heihachi and was thrown into the mouth of a volcano. A few days later, he was brought back to life by G Corporation, a biotech firm making revolutionary advances in the field of biogenetics research. With G Corporation's aid, Kazuya investigated the biomechanics of the devil gene within him by subjecting himself to various experiments. Kazuya believed that once he unlocked and controlled the power of the devil gene, he would be powerful enough to defeat Heihachi and destroy the Mishima Zaibatsu. "20 years later, the Tekken forces attacked G Corporation's facility and stole their research data. Kazuya was also targeted in the attack. Kazuya was infuriated by Heihachi's interference once again. He was determined more than ever to exact revenge. Kazuya was not fooled by the sudden announcement of the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. He knew it was a trap orchestrated by Heihachi to lure him out. Despite this knowledge, Kazuya enters the tournament. This is his chance to defeat Heihachi. The tournament officials sent Kazuya a message. The winner of round 7 by default is Kazuya Mishima. Please proceed to the final stage. Though Kazuya sensed Heihachi's hand in Jin Kazama's disappearance, a fearless grin crept upon his face as he headed towards the final stage.
風間陣をどこへやったの？試合が終われば教えてやる。
Round 1. Fight.
案内しろ。
Heihachi led Kazuya deep within the Mishima Zaibatsu compound. A massive temple stood in the midst of a forest, enshrouded in fog. The two entered the building.
我は貴様らがデビルと呼ぶ存在。20年前貴様に殺されかけた時に分離した我が半身をこやつから取り戻す。今こそ我が復活の時。おかげで手間一つ省けた。褒美に我が力を味わわせてやろう。どうした？貴様らの科学で我を研究し尽くしたのではないのか。なぜ変わらぬ？風間とやらの力。和也貴様、なぜ？まさか。なるほど。力の統合にこんな手もあったとは。貴様の出番もここまでだ。俺の中で溶けてゆくがいい。あとは貴様を殺せば全て俺のものだ。目覚めろ、風間陣。ついに全てを手に入れたぞ。
Heihachi Mishima. 2 years ago, Heihachi failed to capture Ogre, but his researchers succeeded in collecting samples of its blood and tissue. These in turn were used in an attempt to create a new life form by combining Heihachi and Ogre's genetic material. The experiment failed, however, and Heihachi learned that he lacked the devil gene necessary to integrate Ogre's genome with his own. In order to obtain the devil gene, Heihachi searched for Jin, who had transformed into a devil during the last tournament. During his search, Heihachi learned that the body of his son Kazuya, whom he killed 20 years ago, was stored at a cutting-edge biotech firm called G Corporation. Heihachi ordered his Tekken force to raid G Corporation in an attempt to obtain Kazuya's remains. However, the mission ended in failure when Kazuya, revived by G Corporation, retaliated. In order to create a new life form, Heihachi needed the body of Kazuya or Jin, both of whom carry the devil gene. After much deliberation, an evil smile spread across Heihachi's lips. The next day, the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4 was announced.
Final round. Fight.
Heihachi did not kill Kazuya outright. "Come with me if you want to see your son," Heihachi said, and led Kazuya out of the arena. A few hours later, the two were deep within the Mishima Zaibatsu compound. A massive temple stood in the midst of a forest, enshrouded in fog. The two entered the building. Ling Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu was a junior at Mishima High School, but lacking any particular goals, Xiaoyu grew tired of her daily routine. One day, she received an anonymous email warning her of Heihachi's evil intentions and the danger she faced. Though Xiaoyu replied to the email in hopes of an answer, she didn't receive any further messages. Xiaoyu's intuition told her that Jin, who had been missing since the last tournament, could be the sender. She believed in the message and began to distrust Heihachi and the Mishima Zaibatsu. Upon hearing the announcement of the next tournament, Xiaoyu decided to enter in hopes of being reunited with Jin and to unveil the truth behind Heihachi and the Mishima Zaibatsu. Zhao Yu defeated Heihachi. No one foresaw this outcome. Soon thereafter, Zhao Yu learned of Heihachi's many evil deeds. He was clearly guilty of supporting the raid on G Corporation. The evil nature of the Mishima Zaibatsu was finally revealed.
仕事よ。仕事？座ってるだけじゃないの？みはるは？大学どうなったの？大学？全部落ちた。そう。ねえみはる、うちの会社来ない？は？本気よ。会社ったって何すりゃいいのよ。実はね、みはると一緒にやりたいことあんのよ。何？私ね、これから自分の夢は自分の手で叶えようと思って。どうしちゃったの一体。試合が終わってジンに会ったの。何？結局会えたの？そんなこと全然教えてくんなかったじゃん。ジン、その時私に言ってくれたんだ。本当に叶えたい夢があるんなら自分で叶えろって。今は？ジンは？すぐ旅に出ちゃった。なるほど。悲しいお別れがあったわけね。何よ。でもシャオってさ、昔から人に頼ってばっかだったもんね。あんた変わったわ。それでこれから何やんの？ あれ、一緒に作って。
An alternate costume for Zhao Yu allows you to play as her classmate, Miharu Hiranu, but she doesn't have a unique story.
Perfect.
Panda. Panda is an alternate costume for Kuma too, but unlike Miharu, she does have her own story. After the last tournament, Panda accompanied Zhao Yu back to Mishima High School. Since then, Panda spent her days training with Zhao Yu. On some days, she wondered, just a little, about the whereabouts of Kuma, who disappeared after the tournament. One day, 2 years after the tournament, a preoccupied Zhao Yu mentioned the announcement for the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. After hearing Zhao Yu's concerns about the tournament and the Mishima Zaibatsu, Panda decided to become Zhao Yu's bodyguard once again.
Final round. Fight. Perfect. Fight. You win. KO. You win.
After winning the tournament, Panda handed over the entire estate to Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu made public the wrongdoings of Mishima Zaibatsu and used the fortune to compensate its victims.
ねえ、重要な話って何？え、何？うわー、懐かしい。パンダ、この写真大事にしてたっけ？でも、どうして急に？あ、ジン？わかった。一緒に探しに行くってこと？私一人で？どうして？二人で世界中を探し回ろうよ。やだよ、一緒に行こうよ。そっか、もしかして自分が保護動物だってこと気にして？でもよっ、わかった。一人で行ってくる。ずっと友達だよ。ありがとう。
Kuma too. After losing to Paul Phoenix in the last tournament, Kuma realized that he had lost touch with his wild instincts. He realized that as long as he remained Heihachi's pet, he would be unable to use his instincts to his advantage. Thus, Kuma trained alone in the mountains of Hokkaido, determined to regain his powers. Life in the wilderness was more brutal than any training Kuma had endured under Heihachi. Despite this, Kuma continued his harsh regimen. He burned with a desire to defeat Paul. His efforts eventually paid off. His skills improved dramatically, and he even developed new attacks of his own. But the one thing Kuma could not give up was his addiction to television. Every so often, he went down to the village and watched TV through the villager's window. During his second year of training, Kuma went down to the village as usual. While looking through the window of one particular house, he saw a television commercial announcing the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. Kuma's instincts burned for battle as he headed towards the tournament site. Paul would be at the tournament, and Kuma was determined to defeat him.
You win.
After defeating Paul and winning the tournament, Kuma set his sights on a new goal. I'm gonna try my paw at corporate management.
熊よ、その契約書に母印を押すのじゃ。そうじゃそうじゃ。楽しかろう。おれ、まだまだあるぞ。ああ、熊よ。これで最後じゃ。
Paul Phoenix. Paul went undefeated through the entire King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, and even triumphed over Ogre. Swelling with pride, Paul returned home. However, unknown to Paul, Ogre morphed into his second form, True Ogre, and the tournament continued after his departure. Although Paul claimed that he was the true champion of the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, few believed him, and even those who did eventually grew tired of his attitude. Eventually, his dojo went out of business from lack of students. One day, Paul spotted a newspaper flyer announcing the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. Burning with desire to win this tournament, Paul decided to put his reputation on the line and prove once and for all that he was the one true champion. He proclaimed, "This time, I'll be the undisputed champion."
You win. Fight.
Paul became the undisputed champion of the tournament and assumed absolute power over Mishima Zaibatsu. Though Paul inherited Mishima Zaibatsu's vast fortune, he let others handle the day-to-day affairs of the company. Eventually, his executive position became nothing but a job title. In the end, Abel's total control over him resulted in a life of depravity for Paul. Paul spent his days and nights partying. No trace of his valiant spirit remained.
All right, let's take a cab.
Paul! Hey, Paul! Paul!
Ain't my style.
Martial law. Martial law was a successful businessman. He managed a newly established dojo and owned a successful nationwide Chinese fast food chain called Martial China. Unfortunately, he lost a franchise war against a competing restaurant chain and had to declare for bankruptcy a year later. Unable to cope with failure, Marshall fell into depression and spent his days at home on his couch in a drunken haze. Then one day, a notice for the tournament arrived at his doorstep. Marshall's eyes flashed with renewed vigor. After a month of intense training, he beat himself back into top physical form. This is it, he said to himself. It's all or nothing. The fire within him raged hotter than ever before.
Fight. Fight.
Law won the tournament and earned the Mishima Zaibatsu fortune. His fighting spirit was now focused on rebuilding the martial China restaurant empire.
Man, the food here sucks!
We have to pay for this?
What did you just say?
You heard me, I said this food sucks! You expect us to eat this stuff?
What do you mean it sucks?
This pepper beef is too damn spicy!
What are you talking about? This is good. You. No. Put more anger into it. Yeah, that's more like it. Lower your stance a bit more and...
Nina Williams. After the King of Iron Fist Tournament 2, the Mishima Zaibatsu used Nina as a test subject for experimental cryogenic research. 15 years later, Nina was released from cryosleep to fight in the third tournament. She fought in the tournament while suffering from cryosleep-induced amnesia. Since then, Nina escaped from the reaches of the Mishima Zaibatsu and spent her days carrying out missions as a contract assassin. To this day, she has been unable to regain memories of Anna or her previous life. Without her memories, or anyone to rely on, the only thing she could do was to execute her contracts for money. One day, Nina accepted a contract from a mafia organization. The target of the contract was Steve Fox, a world boxing champion. Nina infiltrated the tournament and set her sights on her new target.
You win. Final round. Fight.
I'll break your face!
Final round. Fight.
After the tournament, Nina pursued her target Steve Fox to his hotel in order to complete her objective. While preparing for the hit, Nina received additional information on the target from the Syndicate.
Please! Look out!
Thanks.
Steve Fox. Steve was a young British boxer, enjoying his run as the middleweight champion of the world. Adopted during infancy, Steve sought the identity of his biological parents, as well as the origin of the scar on his arm. One day, Steve was ordered by a mafia group to throw a high-stakes fight, but he refused, and instead won the fight. Unfortunately, the mafia made good on their threats and put a price on Steve's head. With the mafia in hot pursuit, Steve fled England for the United States and led a life on the run. But Steve soon realized that no matter what he did, the mafia would eventually catch and kill him. He would never learn the truth of his past. Motivated by this realization, Steve sought the limelight once again and entered the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. Fortunately for us, Steve has an assassin gunning for him. We'll take advantage of this situation. Kill Steve by serving him up to the assassin.
Freeze!
Lei Wulong. Lei's life was consumed by police work as usual. Unfortunately for Lei, his live-in girlfriend got fed up of his workaholic lifestyle and dumped him in favor of his assistant. Lei was devastated. Around the same time, Lei botched an operation to bring a crime syndicate to justice. The failure cost the police force 2 years' worth of intense undercover investigation work. Lei's rivals in the force secretly reported to his superiors that he botched the operation by allowing personal affairs to affect his job performance. As a result, Lei wound up with a 1-month suspension. During his suspension, Lei learned from an informant that an assassin was hired by the Syndicate to murder a certain boxer participating in the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. Lei entered the tournament in hopes of redeeming his honor.
You win. Fight. Perfect.
After winning the tournament, Lei headed to the Mishima Zaibatsu data center to dig up information on the Syndicate's hired assassin.
Freeze!
Li Xiaolan. 20 years ago, Li was expelled from the Mishima Zaibatsu when he betrayed Heihachi and sided with Kazuya at the King of Iron Fist Tournament 2. Thoughts of revenge consumed Li for a long time. But eventually, he realized that it was pointless to kill an old man who probably only had a few years left in his life at best. With that epiphany, Li distanced himself from fighting and moved to a mansion in the Bahamas to lead a solitary life. One day, he discovered a huge sell-off of G Corporation stock. Li's intuition told him that something happened within the company. His intuition was correct. The Mishima Zaibatsu attacked G Corporation and caused significant damage to their research facilities. He also learned that the Mishima Zaibatsu was searching for a critical component needed to complete one of their projects. Oddly enough, an announcement was made for the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4 around the same time. Li's fading passion for fighting was rekindled, along with his resentment towards the Mishima clan. Li decides to enter the tournament under disguise, in order to prevent the Mishima Zaibatsu from discovering his true identity. This alter ego of Li, Violet, is available as an alternate costume. Violet was the majority shareholder and de facto leader of a manufacturer for humanoid robots. He was apparently a fighter in the past, but he now lived a quiet life in a mansion in the Bahamas. Bored by his carefree lifestyle, Violet decided to enter the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4.
Thank you all! Thank you for your applause. But winning the tournament was not my ultimate goal. I participated in the tournament to gather test data for Combat and to promote its application as the ultimate fighting machine. I present to you now Combat! Combat! Give these nice folks a little demonstration.
Damn it.
Lee won the tournament and finally achieved his dream of becoming the CEO of Mishima Zaibatsu. The first Combat had a fatal bug due to its hasty development. Lee transferred the Combat development project to the Mishima Research Labs, where he spent large sums of money and gathered many brilliant engineers to develop the second prototype.
Mr. Lee, the new Combat prototype is finished, sir.
This one better work to spec.
Yes, combat experiments were conducted against Heihachi. 10.23 seconds into the experiment, Combat unleashed a 50-hit combination. Heihachi was completely helpless.
Excellent.
Combat. Combat is a general-purpose humanoid robot, unlike any other developed to date. Its powerful learning AI enables it to perfectly mimic any human motion captured on its mocap sensor arrays. This particular unit was customized for hand-to-hand combat. The developer's plan called for Combat to memorize each type of fighting style as it progressed through the tournament. The end result would be the most powerful hand-to-hand fighter on Earth. Unfortunately, the project failed to meet its deadline, and a few bugs remain in Combat's memory subsystems. This prevents Combat from executing more than one person's fighting style each time it is powered up. Unlike the other characters, Combat does not have a unique style, but rather will randomly take on the moveset and techniques of another fighter. It will not be known which until the fight starts, and is different every time.
You win.
well, Combat. Now, the world is mine for the taking.
Yoshimitsu. As the leader of the Manji party, Yoshimitsu dedicated himself to providing food, medical assistance, and shelter to the ever-increasing number of political refugees around the world. Unfortunately, with a constant lack of necessary funding and manpower, Yoshimitsu was unsure about the future of his organization. When Yoshimitsu heard about the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4, he envisioned a union between the Manji party and the Mishima Zaibatsu. With this dream in mind, Yoshimitsu decided to enter the tournament. He must defeat Heihachi Mishima at any cost.
I'll break your face!
Round 1. Fight. Perfect.
When word of victory reached the Manji clan, they were ecstatic. Their long-awaited wish would finally come true. Yoshimitsu, however, knew better than to trust Heihachi Mishima. Yoshimitsu gave an order to his clan members and headed to the Mishima Manor.
Tournamentの勝者はお前だ。だが万事島なんぞに三島財閥は渡せん。お前ら万事島はペテン師集団だ。絵空ごとの理想で大衆を先導し、断るごとにわしらの邪魔をする。
天網開会、そうにしてもらさず。
財務室中央金庫が破られました。万事島のヘリが金庫ごと。
何？
Brian Fury. Brian realized that the end of his life was near. There was only one person who could change this, Dr. Abel, his creator. But Abel abandoned him 2 years ago, when the Mishima Zaibatsu recruited him as its top scientific advisor. Brian despised both of them, Mishima Zaibatsu for taking Abel away from him, and Abel himself for abandoning him. One day, news of the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4 reached Brian. and he decided to enter the tournament. Despite his impending death, Brian's body flowed with energy, making him more powerful than before. Along with this new strength, Brian developed an uncontrollable rage that manifested itself in his outward physical appearance. Brian stakes everything on one hope, that if he defeats Heihachi Mishima, he will become the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. If all goes according to plan, Brian would command Abel to modify his body, thus becoming the most powerful being in existence once again.
Fight. You win.
Die!
Round. Fight. You win.
Following his victory, Brian approached Abel on shaky legs. "You're still alive?" Abel was in disbelief. Gathering every last ounce of strength, Brian knocked Abel across the room. At the same time, Brian fell to the ground unconscious.
Ah, you're finally awake. Have you any idea who saved you? He did. I'm certain you're wondering why. It's because we need your cooperation. By mechanizing you, I will extend your lifespan. In return, I will keep your original body. You see, the key to defeating Abel's bioweapon is contained within your body. Understand? Well, shall we get started then? This will be the start of a new future for you, as well as us. When you wake, it will feel as though only a moment has passed, but in reality, a year will have gone by. You will be completely reborn in a new body. All right? Well then, sweet dreams.
King 2. Armor King was murdered. King swore upon Armor King's grave that he would seek revenge against the man responsible for his mentor's death. The murderer was serving time in an Arizona state penitentiary. With the money he earned from professional wrestling tournaments, King arranged for the murderer's release. King then sent him a plane ticket and an article about the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. With his plans in motion, King headed for the tournament to await his sworn enemy, the Vale-Tudo fighter. After the tournament, King donated Mishima Zaibatsu's vast fortune to help the impoverished children of the world. But King still had unfinished business to attend to. Craig Marduk. Undefeated for 4 years in the professional circuit, Craig Marduk was once a respected and feared Vale-Tudo fighter. However, Craig was expelled from the professional ranks after being linked to a minor scandal. Bitter against his peers in society, Craig's wrath consumed his soul. One day, Craig started a brawl in Arizona and killed an opponent during the fight. Convicted of second-degree manslaughter, Craig was sentenced to 10 years in the state penitentiary. 2 years later, Craig was mysteriously released from prison. Some anonymous benefactor had apparently paid off numerous judiciaries to arrange for Craig's release. An envelope was delivered to Craig shortly thereafter. It contained a plane ticket and a newspaper article about the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. For Marduk, fulfillment was elusive. Winning some tournament don't mean nothing. When he realized where he was heading back to the place of his former glory.
Craig Marduk? It is you. I used to watch your fights on TV all the time. I'm Jeff Slater, the current Val 2 champion. Hey, has the ex-champ forgotten how to fight? Come on, Marduk, bring it on. It'll be the biggest unofficial bout of the century. The badass reigning champ versus the legend who disappeared in the wake of a scandal. All running away, huh? Afraid to see legendary fighter KO'd in the headlines?
Don't bother getting up.
Christy Montero. Eddie Gordo learned capoeira from a master during his imprisonment. This master had a granddaughter named Christy. While in prison, Eddie swore an oath to him that he would pass on the art of capoeira to Christy. Shortly after returning from the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, Eddie took Christy under his wing and taught her the art of capoeira, just as he promised. She became an impressive fighter after 2 years of training. But Eddie left abruptly soon thereafter. Those responsible for my father's death must pay. His words were all that was left behind for Christy. Troubled by his sudden and mysterious disappearance, Christy pursued Eddie, her only lead, the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. An alternate costume for Christy is Eddie Gordo, but again, he doesn't have his own story.
Here we go! Come on, baby. Show me what you got.
Final round. Fight.
Christy, how do you feel?
Yeah, whatever, good.
Anyone you want to share this victory with? So tell us, what was the key to your victory?
Fight.
Hwarang. Back in his homeland of Korea, Hwarang was drafted into the military and assigned to a Spec Ops unit. Although his success in various missions was highly regarded, his penchant for disobeying rules and orders gave his senior officers more than a few headaches. Hwarang felt a strange emptiness within him. He recalled longingly of the days hustling money in street fights, the rush of hand-to-hand combat, and his fight against Jin Kazama. The military could not quell these yearnings. One day, the announcement of the next tournament reached Hwarang's ears. For the first time in years, his blood began to stir. He would defeat Jin, Heihachi Mishima, and anyone else who dared to stand in his way of claiming Mishima Zaibatsu as his own. Bursting with anticipation, Hwarang slipped out from the military base and headed for the tournament. Hwarang won the tournament, and now, Mishima Zaibatsu was his to control. But to everyone's surprise, he immediately sold off Mishima Zaibatsu to another company. He then left on another journey. There was one last task he had to finish.
You're finally here!
So, what do you want?
I never got to fight you at the tournament. I'll take you on right here, right now.
There's no reason to fight.
You ain't got one? Well, I do!
Fight. You win.
Sergeant! Desertion is an offense punishable by court-martial. Give yourself up, soldier!
Oi.
Sama. Remember, I kicked your ass back there. Hey, you listening? I'll give you a chance to even the score at the next tournament. You better show up.
Ceasefire!
Julia Chang. Realizing that her native homeland would soon be in danger of the encroaching desert, Julia began her research on ecosystem restoration in hopes of saving it. The research group she joined was funded exclusively by G Corporation. In fact, all research was conducted at G Corporation's maximum security labs, and all data was stored there as well. However, one day the project was placed on indefinite hold. The Mishima Zaibatsu had attacked G Corporation's maximum security labs and stolen all the research data. Julia neither knew nor cared about the Mishima Zaibatsu, but in order to prevent her home from becoming a desert in a few years' time, she had to retrieve the research data. Julia searched the net for information on the Mishima Zaibatsu. Her eyes lit up when she saw a webpage announcing the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4.
Fight. You win. Fight.
Julia won the tournament and took over Mishima Zaibatsu. She gained access to not only her lost research material, but to all of Mishima Zaibatsu's cutting-edge technology, including G Corporation's research data. Julia's hope for reforestation grew.
Genicell was the key. When you attempt to combine the devil and human, the devil cells destroy the human cells, making it impossible to create a viable life form. But when you introduce Genicell, the biological purifying qualities of the Genicell can suppress the devil cell. Remarkable, isn't it? Join us in our research.
This research will be the end of mankind!
What are you doing? Stop! No! Do you want to destroy your dreams of reforestation? You're destroying the future of mankind.
You're wrong! How can that be our future? A world where such horrible things exist?
Stupid woman!
One day, I will reforest this land. I swear it.
After completing story mode, with all starting characters, you will have unlocked all available fighters. However, Tekken 4 does offer a wide variety of different game modes to keep you playing. One of these, Arcade Mode, is essentially the same as story mode, but without the cutscenes. The difficulty and round settings can be altered in Arcade Mode, but when selecting Time Attack, these are locked in. Time Attack is a challenge to test how quickly you can complete Arcade Mode with restricted settings. Team Battle allows you to set a team of up to 8 fighters. Once a fighter is defeated, the next teammate will enter the battle. Health carries over with a slight regeneration between fights, and once all teammates are taken out, the game ends. Survival is as the name suggests, a challenge to defeat as many opponents in a row without dying. Health does carry over between fights with slight regeneration. Practice mode allows you to practice different moves and techniques against a motionless opponent. Various stats will display to get a mastery of the different attacks and how hard and where they strike. However, that is not all, as a new training mode will train you with speed prompts to master a fighter's unique moveset, and was a pretty cool feature. Returning from Tekken 3, but tweaked, is Tekken Force. This arcade-style beat-em-up-like game type was just alright. Luckily, it didn't have a character to unlock associated with it, but did unlock the dojo stage. Overall, I don't feel like Tekken lends itself to this style of gameplay, as the movement just doesn't work or feel right. I would much rather play Streets of Rage, or really, any Sega Genesis or arcade beat-em-up, as those were way more responsive and fun. But if you enjoyed the original, or want a different experience, it is there if you desire. The final game type is Versus Mode. This is a simple 2-player battle with the availability of a handicap to balance for differences in skill level.
Final round. Fight. Win.
Otherwise, all that remains is a theater mode to view cutscenes or saved clips. New to Tekken 4 is the ability to save a replay of a fight if you want to save an epic clash or relive an intense moment. Overall, Tekken 4 was a decent entry in the series that looked beautiful on the PlayStation 2, but played differently than the PlayStation 1 predecessors. In general, the combat in Tekken 4 felt a bit heavy and slower than Tekken 3 and Tekken Tag Tournament, although it was still a generally smooth experience. However, I found it difficult to lock a combo in, especially with the opponent's guard down, and when I did finally get one, the opponent could easily knock me out of it, which was extremely frustrating. At times, it almost felt like the game encouraged me to be a cheap piece of crap and kick over and over again, because going for more difficult techniques just wasn't worth it when you could so easily get interrupted. I found myself missing the speed of Tekken Tag Tournament, but on the bright side, the animations and graphics were greatly enhanced on the PlayStation 2. The polygons were significantly smoother, with more detailed character models focusing on upgraded visuals, especially the shadows, body, and muscles. Personally, I really enjoyed the darker tones set throughout the story, especially involving Heihachi, Kazuya, and Jin. The cold and ruthless actions of Heihachi and Kazuya are contrasted against the Kazama blood that runs in Jin's veins, separating him from his selfish family. Despite the devil gene, the single white feather shows that good resides within Jin, something that just doesn't exist in Heihachi or Kazuya. Despite a lot of the darker narratives, some of the other characters, such as Paul or Kuma, do provide comic relief. No matter what character you play as, it was satisfying to see the different and interesting storylines play out, such as Brian's impending doom, Nina's search for her memories and discovering her son, or King looking to avenge Armor King's death. While this wasn't my favorite Tekken game in the series, it is definitely worth playing, as it contains several compelling storylines, excellent graphics, and decent gameplay. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for playing through my PlayStation 2 collection, number 4.